Hello, magnificent ones. Today is such a great day for me personally, and I decided to wait 60 days before I uploaded another episode intentionally. The reason being is my birthday was in April. I turned 30. Then my son's birthday, he turned 4. And then there was Mother's Day. There was my mother's birthday, my mother-in-law's birthday, and all the other work things that were taking place and goals that I was trying to accomplish, which I did, exceeded most of my goals. I surpassed my own expectations. But with all that being said, all the success that I've had in the last 60 days, I wanted to slow down. I wanted to slow down and take it all in. Because oftentimes, when everything's going our way, we forget to look before we leap. It's in moments like that when we're most vulnerable because everything is moving fast and we're not taking the time to analyze our surroundings and to check ourselves, as they say, before we wreck ourselves. And I wanted to utilize that time to ensure that I was being thankful for all the people that aided me in my goals, and also to know that I never accomplished anything by myself. I always had the help of others, so I'm thankful for my team, I'm thankful for my family, I'm thankful for my wife, being the great amazing person that she is, and also the person that clashes with me intellectually all the time, but that makes us stronger. I'm thankful for so many things, and I would like to encourage each and every one of you to never forget to be thankful. Never forget that through everything in life, all of the success that you've had, that someone was there. You were never truly there by yourself. Even if you feel as though you were by yourself, you never really were by yourself. Your success is not just your own. There's so many, little things that we overlook, the acts of kindness that really made the difference in getting us to where we needed to be. In college, I worked a full-time job my entire college career, and I'm very fortunate that, my bosses, they worked with my schedule so I could still go to school full-time and still work full-time. So I would pack all of my classes into 2 days, and so I essentially lived on campus like those 2 days, and I would do my homework, I would write my papers, within those 2 days. So if my day would start roughly, 5 a.m. on the days that I had school. So from 5 a.m. to probably about, 12 midnight or so, I was just grinding away. And regardless of my academic achievements, I'm still a person. I still get tired. I still, I still get depressed. I still want more out of life. I still have my down days, as most human beings have. And I will say that the reason why, even though my days were so long, they didn't suck. And they didn't suck because I was surrounded by great human beings and their small acts of kindness. For example, on my college campus, we had a bar, and they serve food and stuff, and it was just an amazing area. If you wanted to get work done, you could get work done there, with the setup. And the bartender, because I was there, every Tuesday and every Thursday, the bartender would always, stop and say, hey, go eat something. You've been, at it for a while. What if, that person didn't do that? What if their act of kindness, went unnoticed by me? Where would I be? Maybe they would have stopped doing those things, but I always remembered to say thank you, and how much I appreciated that. Someone was looking out for me, and they were a stranger. We didn't know each other. There is also the cafe lady in the library that whenever I just seemed tired, she would always just say, hey, you could always come get a coffee or whatever. But sometimes we get sucked into what we're doing. We're so hyper-focused that we're not taking care of ourselves. And I was fortunate enough to be surrounded again by wonderful human beings that, had my back and could see that I was lacking in some area. And they filled, they stepped in and they didn't let their job determine, how they were going to treat another human being. And that's something that is quite beautiful about this life that we live. We talk about accountability and responsibility. And responsibility is just doing your job. That's just the bare minimum. Accountability is that's the extra mile, that's saying that even though something isn't your job, you're still going to do it. It still matters. How many people in our lives are just accountable? Sure, there are people that, they don't have to take care of someone else's children, but they do, because it's not the child's fault why the child was brought into this world. So there's, people who are injured, maybe, they got into a car accident or something. Sure, someone isn't an EMT, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't try to help in certain situations. Of course, if the situation dictates that, right? We are our neighbor, our brother's keeper. We are, we have to look out for each other, not because it's the law that we have to look out for each other, but because it is the right thing to do. We've lost this sense of community. We've lost, the sense of kinship over the years. But what if we went back to that and we had an attitude of gratitude and we remembered the magic words, please and thank you? And I could say that most of the success that I've had in this life are because of the words, please and thank you. Sure, I'm extroverted and people say that I'm charismatic. However, again, you take the intellect out of any situation, you take what I know out of the equation, and I'm just a person that bleeds like everyone else. You take my job title out of it, I'm just another person that pays taxes, right? But the thing that makes me me is that I remember please and thank you. That's something that I've always been very, very proud about when it comes to myself, because I care about how I treat people, and the golden rule always applies to treat others the way that you want to be treated. And so these past 60 days, as much as I've accomplished, I saw that every step of the way that there was someone there to aid me in my endeavors and my goals. And my goals aren't, another person's goals. They're my personal goals. And so the fact that there was buy-in to allow me to do the things that, I wanted to do and to see my vision, I'm grateful and I'm honored that other people cared enough to help when it wasn't about them. Other people stayed later to help me to do things, and again, it wasn't about them. And that's where the virtue of saying please and thank you and the hellos and the goodbyes and the how are you doing, those little things every single day, they don't go unnoticed by people. And I'm not saying you should say hello or be kind to people because you want something in return. I'm saying that if you do good, good will return to you as well. So with the time that you have, you never know when it is that you're going to need someone. So why not just be kind to everyone and remember please and thank you? So I am going to do a full reflection of the last 30 years of my life and what that entails in areas in which I've grown and maybe areas in which, I'm still lacking. However, I think this would be a perfect, prelude to that, because I'm reflecting over the past 60 days, and when I released the episode of the last, me reflecting over the last 30 years of my life, there's some things that I'm still wrapping my head around. The fact that for so long I've placed, an emphasis on achieving, and accomplishing anything that just pops into my head. I always want to achieve that. And I always think that I could achieve anything. I've never felt that there was limits to what it is that I could do with this life. I just have always been so hungry and invigorated to just accomplish whatever pops into my head. And that could be a very good thing, and that could also be a very bad thing. At times I get so focused that I forget about that life is still going on, right? Like, I still have to unplug from whatever it is that I'm doing. I still have to be a father. I still have to be a husband. I still have to be a friend and a brother and a son. And it gets hard to do those things when you have very big goals. It is, because you feel that the more time you're spending with other people is the less productive you're being, and the further you are away from accomplishing the things that you set out to accomplish. And I've soon realized that my success now, all the successes that I have today, is far easier. Like, it's hard, but it's easier. It's easily accomplished compared to before, where I'm just diving in head first, and I would be stressed out, and I would be tired, and just frustrated all the time, and I just wanted to accomplish whatever it is that I was doing. I just wanted to accomplish my goal. Now I still have that same drive and motivation. It's just now it's a measured approach. I take a step back and I analyze everything that I'm doing. And my success, it comes even faster now. Before, I would still be successful, but I would stumble along the way. Now I stumble less, and if I spend less time making mistakes, and then I'm spending more time being successful, or a longer, I'm enduring a longer ride of smoothness that then makes it easier to accomplish the things that I've set out to do. Now, in this journey of me being thankful, I have to say that I'm extremely thankful for everyone that tunes into this podcast. There are thousands of podcasts to choose from, different topics, more experienced podcasters that are out there. And the fact that you've taken time to listen or follow, or in some cases follow the podcast, I consider that to be an amazing gift. And I am so grateful, and I'm so humbled of, the response that I've gotten from this. And I think it would be a disservice to not say thank you, because I didn't know what my intentions for this podcast was, aside from I just wanted to do something with a couple of friends, and that would be the end all, the be all of it. But somewhere along the line, the more that I've recorded things, is the more that I learn. And in the process of even having everyday conversations with others, I'm seeing things through a different lens. I think that I have a more gentle aura, whereas in the past, my aura was being turned up. Like, I would always have to be just this high, super, super high energy, and that in many cases is quite intimidating. And now I just want to be stoic and calm. Like that is how I want my demeanor and my aura to project, is calm. The analogy is kind of like Bruce Lee. I want to be like water. If I go in the cup, I become the cup. But water can also be this crashing force whenever it needs to be. And that's the life that I want to lead. Water is life, but water could also be this terrifying force of nature that could destroy things. But water also allows things to grow. Water also sustains, all life on this planet as well. So this journey has brought me to so many places in the last 60 days. I never thought that I would accomplish the things that I've accomplished so soon. It was the perfect example of what it means to believe in yourself. And when you believe in the possibility of being more than what you are now, then you begin to live a life in which you can make it possible to become the things that you need to become, or to gain the things that you're seeking, because you believe. And when you believe, that's what makes everything possible. And I've believed, and even when I doubted myself was when I was accomplishing the things that I had set out to accomplish. Not the journey of it, but when I was literally accomplishing it. I'm looking at, my scorecard, for lack of a better terminology. When I was looking at my scorecards and I was looking at my merits, I didn't believe that I was actually doing those things, because I thought it was just a dream. And yes, every day I had the same goal, and every day I worked towards that goal endlessly, tirelessly, long days, long nights. When the moment came, the final moment, I couldn't believe it. And so other people had to tell me that yes, I was really accomplishing in these things. And as I'm speaking right now, I'm using the term I. But behind that I is so many we's. There's so many us. There's, again, the small acts of kindness that maybe a lot of people wouldn't even make a correlation to say that it made a difference. I've made that correlation that it has been the difference in me, accomplishing the things that I've accomplished. Things that I've taken for granted for the last 60 days is that whenever I'm hungry, I never have to worry about food, right? Like I can go to my mom's house, my grandma can make me something, I can make myself something. I've taken for granted the fact that things are available to me, like resources are available to me. And that's a key part of my success, is that there's an outlet for me. If I'm having a stressful day, I do have an escape. Not many people have that, like just an escape from whatever their bad day is. I do have a moment, like I do have people that I can turn to if I need advice that will steer me in the right way. If I fall, there are people there that will help support me to get back on my feet. So emotionally, when, I'm going through, my days, and I don't think that I can accomplish the things that I want, like even though I am accomplishing the things that I want and I've surpassed the things that I've wanted, it's in those moments that I get a phone call and other people say, hey, you realize what you're doing right now, right? You realize that the things you said that you were going to accomplish, you've already surpassed that. Keep going, man. Keep going. And those words are what made me who I am right now. Like having those words being told to me throughout my life that keep going. A teacher wrote in my yearbook in middle school, "Go forth and conquer." I remember that. I can't tell you everything that was ever written in any of my yearbooks, but I remember specific things that I've lived by because I saw it and I accepted it. I buried it within my brain. I buried it within my heart, and I made it a core part of who I am. Another one was dare to dream. I think that was my second favorite one. Dare to dream. Be bold. That was the thing that I don't think I'll ever let that go. Dare to dream. Because I love dreaming. But what I love more than dreaming is whatever it is that I dream, watching it come to life. And just being amazed at that. I remember just the idea of there's so many people out there that want to have a family. And it's so hard, whether they're having troubles conceiving or they're having troubles, adopting, whatever the reason is. And yet I do have a family, and so I'm grateful for that. So many people want to find love. I do have love, so I'm grateful for that because I'm not chasing those things, because I have those things. So many people don't get along with their in-laws. I love my in-laws. I get along perfectly with my in-laws. So, again, I am, it's not my career that makes me who I am, though I love what I do with all that I am, with every fiber in my body. It amazes me that the things that I used to define me are family, my friendships, which are just basically more family, and the fact that I have ideas in my head. The money, I don't think about it anymore. That used to be so much, a part of my identity, but now it's not. It's in the background. Money is the tool, but now I focus on my time with others. The other day I hung out with one of my friends. We're both dads. And it's something about hanging out with a like-minded individual and seeing that time is so precious. Whether you're spending time with your family trying to be a good parent, or you're striving to get some time to yourself so you don't go insane because you're a good parent. That you value those moments so much more that a lot of people take for granted. Just having, 5 seconds to just have a breather sometimes, it's hard when you're a parent. And it's hard when you have a career as well, because especially when you're constantly around, hundreds of people every single day. And, talking to people is draining, even if you're having a great day. You can have a party. Sure, you're having a great time, but at the end of the day, you're going to be exhausted, even if you haven't even lifted a finger, because you're dealing with people, and people have personalities, and there's so much that can go on in a single conversation. And it's so awe-inspiring to go to random places and have random conversations with random people who are also just like you. Whether doesn't matter their race. A dad is a dad. A mom is a mom. And good people want good things to happen to not just their families, but the families around them. And just having those random one-off conversations where you see the beauty in humanity in those moments, that as strangers we can still make an impact on each other. The power of a conversation often gets overlooked. The power of communication is something that we don't utilize as much as we should. Now, in my reflecting, I had a very, very deep awakening or epiphany. But my realization was there have been times where the things that a lot of people adore me, I'm sorry, adoring, I guess, is not the correct terminology. The things that people love me for are also the same things that people may dislike me for as well. Sure, like I can be very driven and ambitious and motivated, and those are good qualities, but those same qualities can be toxic as well, because sometimes we have the blinders on and maybe we're not reading the room, that maybe we're pushing people a little bit too much, maybe we're not slowing down and assessing how everyone is reacting to our ideas, and we're just, hey, this is what we're going to accomplish. And sure, you may communicate effectively in that everyone's idea is valued and is present, but you may not take the time to notice that, hey, like everyone's tired, maybe we should take a break, walk away from this and come back to it later. And then you have to also tell yourself that everyone is not you. I've had a very hard time throughout my life just saying that to myself, that everyone is not me. Just because I can stay focused for a long period of time and I'm extremely ambitious, it doesn't mean that everyone else, shares that same value system. Some people are just built differently. And that was always hard for me to understand. I used to think that if someone wasn't doing well, it's because they were lazy. But I've learned that sometimes people aren't doing well because the thing that they're doing isn't what they love. And when you don't love something, it's hard to contribute 100%. And maybe your 50% or your 30% that you're giving, that's your version of 100% because you absolutely detest what it is that you're doing right now. And I've learned to be thankful that the fact that they're just giving some effort in some situations, because they don't have to give an effort, because it's not what they want to be doing in the first place. And all I've tried to do in situations like that now is, how can I get that out of them consistently? And, if I get that, then so be it. But another thing that I've also learned, and I've realized that I've grown to embody, is learning when to let go. And learning that sometimes it's okay to lose the battle so you can win the war. As cliche as that sounds. There are moments where, you try so hard and you're holding on so tight because you want something to work out. But sometimes things just aren't meant to be. And in those moments, it's okay to let go, walk away. That's hard. That's hard, especially when you've put so much into something. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a job. Maybe you're fighting for a promotion and you've given all that you can give, and you keep giving all that you can give, hoping for some outcome that you have no control over. I've learned to just let that go and only focus on the things that are in my control. And I've learned that if I don't get what it is that I want, that's okay, because I have all the things that I need. And I have the most important things. I have love in my life. I have kindness in my life. I have the things that if they're gone, they cannot be replaced. Money can always be replaced. In the workforce, we're all replaceable. No matter how good we are, there's always someone that's either going to be better or someone that can do it for less. So the one thing that I could do, I know that I am my son's only father, my daughter's only father, and I know that I am irreplaceable to them. And therefore, that is more important than any amount of money that I could possibly make. I know that my time with them is limited because I'm going to die one day. I'm not going to be here forever, so I want to maximize my time with them as much as possible. I want to instill, values of kindness and patience, but I also want to instill the drive to be bold enough to be who you are at all times. Because who you are and what you stand for matters. And that is a very hard, path to travel down. Being true to who you are and knowing who you are and not compromising on certain things and certain values. That is a very difficult path to walk. And my only goal in life as a parent is not to make them surgeons or force an idea of college down their heads and tell them that they have to be exactly like me. My goal for them is to just be the best people they can be as the people they are, and not live a life that isn't their own. If this is the music that you like, listen to that music and not, change your music taste because you don't want to be judged by others. Not change your fashion sense because you want to be judged by others, but live life in a way that you will always know who you are. That has been something that is so important to me. There were moments where being me meant that it would cause chaos. And I realized that in life, we live in a democracy. I'm allowed to have my opinions and everyone else is allowed to have their opinions, and I don't have to like another person's opinion. I don't have to like it. But I will tolerate it because that is their right. And so it is also my right to believe what I want, and I have the freedom of speech to express that belief when I want. And I would like the same for every other person that live on this planet, is to be able to express themselves and be who they are. And I may not have to like it, but just because I don't like it, it doesn't mean that they're not entitled to that right and that privilege. And so I will definitely do my best to also preach that same message, to my children, that be true to who you are. And just because other people believe in different things doesn't mean that is your burden to carry. Just live life and be true to yourself. And if you're being the best version of yourself at all times, then you can be the best version for other people at all times. I know this is just a reflection, but the last 60 days has been so insightful and so inspiring to me that I'm looking forward to the next 30 years, because I'm 30 and in 30 years I'll be 60. And I can only imagine if I get to live to be 60, because anything can happen. My life, tomorrow isn't promised to me. The next 5 seconds isn't promised to me. But if I live to be 60, what would I have accomplished? How many people would have I impacted? How many lives would I have touched? Or how many people I possibly may make cry? Because the truth hurts sometimes. I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I do know that I'm happy with the path that I am on. I feel fulfilled in the person that I am. I don't need more in my life. I just need better always. I always want to be evolving, and I want the things around me to also evolve. I want the people in my life to evolve. I don't want my life to be stagnant. And if I keep evolving, the people in my circle keep evolving, what will life be like in 30 years if all those things remain true? What is success then in 30 years for me? What is success in 30 years for my friends, my children, my wife? What will be the things that I lose along the way? What will be the things that I gain along the way? Those are the questions that I'm asking myself currently, at this current juncture. Do my words and my actions matter? And the answer is absolutely. And regardless of your job title, regardless of your career, whether you have a job, whether you have a home, regardless, so long as you're alive, you matter, and your words matter, and you are of value to this life. You have to remind yourself that you're a net positive, because the world won't always tell you that you're great. So it's okay to tell yourself that you matter. It's okay to tell yourself that you're important. It's okay to say, I love you to yourself, the same way you would say you love another person. Those things are okay. And if you're not okay, it's also okay to not be around people sometimes, because your mental health dictates that you need to take a step back. And as they say, it's okay to not be okay. And sometimes you have to be okay with being alone, because when you're changing and evolving, it's moments like that when you really see who your friends are. Whether you're a person that's trying to quit drugs, and or how that goes, or you're trying to stop drinking, or maybe you're trying to not go out as much and you just want to be a homebody, and your friends always have to go out, and that dynamic changes drastically because people only want to hang out with you when they're drinking or something. Regardless of all of those things, those are all irrelevant. What's most important is that you just love yourself and just try to just be kind, and just remember the magic rule, or the magic words, the please and the thank you, the I love yous and I'm sorry, the hellos and the goodbyes, even to random strangers. Those little things are the things that will determine how successful you are in the next 30 years. The please and the thank you, the little things in life, are the things that truly matter. If you think of, a great mansion and how big the mansion is, sure, maybe you'll see some concrete columns outside. Maybe there's a nice, brick wall on the exterior of the house. But if you look closely, right, those are big things. The wall is big, the brick wall is big. But if you look throughout the house, you'll see that there's a combination. If you were to just deconstruct that house, there's a combination of screws, a combination of nails of all varying in sizes, right? That all come together to hold that mansion up. If you take enough screws out of that house, if you take enough nails out of that house, I guarantee that house will come, or mansion will come crashing down. It's the same thing. Your world that you live in and your life, it's very big. And the hellos, the goodbyes, the I love yous, I'm sorries, those are the small nails and the screws that holds your life up together. So if you were to stop saying hello, if you were to stop saying goodbye, if you were to stop saying I love you, if you were to stop saying I'm sorry, just imagine yourself being that mansion, and each time you don't do those things, or say those things rather, you're removing a screw, you're removing a nail. Your roof will come crumbling down. You don't want that. So the small things matter. If I had to boil this podcast down to anything, is that the small things matter. Because they define who you are. So thank you again, for listening. Thank you for, letting me know that this podcast matters, because each time I see where people are listening, I see that people in my hometown are listening, people in the town over are listening, people around the world are listening. and it's consistent as well with each episode release that those same places people are listening. And I am so grateful, and I'm so humbled and honored. So thank you. And remember to be true to who you are.